Hey guys, I've got a new project in the shop and it's been throwing me some curveballs. It's a 1984 Buick Grand National. It's one of the early cars. It's a non-intercooled, they call them hot air cars. But anyways, these cars are a little bit tricky to work on because there's no aftermarket support. There's not very many parts for the 84 and 85 cars. So a lot of people switch things over to the 86, 87, and that's what I'm going to do here. The car was running rough and idling poorly and just had some stumbles and issues that I wanted to try to diagnose, and some of the Grand National guys said to take a look at this coil. So I got a little head start here. I went ahead and labeled the plug wires so I could remember the firing order, and then took the 4 bolts out, and this thing was stuck to the ignition module. I've already got it unhooked and everything, but you can see that the potting compound in there had melted, and it kind of melted itself to the coil. That's obviously not good. So I'm working on getting this ignition module out of it. First thing I'm going to do is use a 1/4 inch socket on a nut driver to get this wiring harness clip loosened, and then I should be able to access the bolts and everything from there. This is the conversion kit that I got from Curbin Performance. It uses a Casper Electronics module. It's for 86 or 87 Grand National. We've got this adapter plate that allows fitment on the 84, 85 style bracket. And then we've got, this is just a standard part store coil for 86 or 87 Grand National. And then this is part of the kit from Curbin Performance. Converts the different type wiring so that you don't have to do a lot of repinning or anything like that. It also comes with some mounting hardware. So the only thing I've got to do is a little bit of wiring work to switch over one wire from a resistor to a solid copper wire, and then this will be ready to go on. Part of the instruction is to remove this outer pink wire with the black stripe, and it goes into the main engine harness, which I've untangled a little bit. And then you've got to unbolt the bulkhead, and this is what I found in the bulkhead. Yucky, gross. I can't tell if that's grease or what exactly it is, but I'm gonna have to clean it. It doesn't appear to be melted plastic. At least I hope it's not melted. So I'm gonna try to clean it and put it back together after, of course, tracing down this wire and removing it. The point of that wire is that the original pink wire is a resistance wire. It takes a little bit of power away from the coil, and this new updated 86-87 Grand National coil has an internal regulation, so it doesn't need that resistance wire. The 3 studs on the ignition module pass through this adapter plate, and you tighten the 10mm nuts, and they're countersunk so that there's no clearance issues. And once those are tight, you can attach the original mount, and then there's 4 nuts supplied with the kit. Spin those on there, tighten them down, and that'll be ready to bolt back to the car. So I got my new coil pack installed and freaked out a little bit because 4 of the 6 bolt holes in the ignition module were not threaded. Apparently you just thread them yourself with the bolt. Also had to get a little bit longer bolts from the hardware store to install this, but it's ready to go back on the car. Once we get it slid over the stud on the intake, it should fall into place just like that. Radiator hose sits down where it's supposed to go. We can install the 2 bolts, or the 2 nuts that hold this bracket into place. So we finally had some success with the Grand National. The new ignition module and coil and plug wires and plugs and all that stuff, it really helped this thing run a lot better. Now it still has kind of a rough, choppy idle. It kind of sounds like it has a big cam in it, but it doesn't. And I'm not sure what the source of that is, but on the open road, this thing runs really good. I'm really happy with it. So the ignition swap is definitely worth doing. It made this car much more friendly on the road, and it feels like it makes a little more power. So win-win.